Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited that you are joining me live today. Well, I am Connie Stewart with simplysimplestamping.com. Welcome to a new YouTube Live. Today, I'm very excited. I've got two cards lined up for you. We're going to be featuring the Lovely You bundle from Stampin' Up. This is one of Stampin' Up's brand new bundles from the brand new catalog. I hope that you guys are loving this one. It is going to be found on page, I believe, page 22 of the new catalog. This one is phenomenal. Fonts are beautiful. Images are beautiful. Like I said, we're going to create two cards today. One of them is going to be a Scrap That Idea card. Those are always a lot of fun, just cards created with some scraps that I had laying around. And then my other card is a Flashcard 2.0. If you guys are familiar with the flashcard system, yeah, we'll be creating this one with the Flashcard 2.0. Well, just before we get started, a quick little tidbit here. It is Thursday, June 18th at noon Central Time. If you are on right now, you're on with me live. So welcome to the YouTube Live. Hey, but if you are on after that and you're watching the replay, shout out to you too. I'm so glad that you're here. We have a lot to share and a lot of fun going on. So let's see. I want to just let everyone know that if you are on live with me right now, we are over in the chat box. The most amazing moderator in the world, Brenda Paulson, is over there. She's going to be answering your questions during the live. So if you have questions, she's going to be there to answer them. If you are watching after the fact, leave me a comment there in the comments below on YouTube. I love hearing from you. Love to hear what you think of the projects for the day. If you like what you see today, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up. I always appreciate thumbs up on YouTube. YouTube appreciates them too. It lets them know these are things that you like and you want to see more of. So yeah, so be sure to sign into your YouTube account if you want to chat, if you're on live. That is important. I have had people in the past say, oh, I can't chat with you. What's going on? You have to sign into your YouTube channel. So be sure to do that. All right, I have got my beverage of the day. Do you like today's cup? Today's cup, do you recognize him? That's Sully from Monsters, Inc. We're big Disney people in this house. So yeah, that's my little Sully cup. I like Sully. He's kind of my favorite. He's blue and furry. So, all right, guys, I think I've given everyone an opportunity to get on. So, as I like to say, we're going to take you on a little roller coaster ride while I move my camera over to my stamp space. So if you get motion sick, look away. Here we go. Always fun when I do this, but it is the one way. And we'll flip that camera around. And look at that. We are here and we are live. So I will get things all set there. All right. Here we go. There is That Lovely You bundle. Like I said, this one is just, I mean, it immediately jumped out at me when I opened the new catalog. I love scripty fonts. They are my favorite, but I gotta tell you what I love most is the scripty font lined up here, you know, with a really nice, oh, probably like a, what is that, Century Gothic kind of font. Love, love, love this set. We're gonna be using a lot of things from it. This one also is available as a bundle. So as you can see, this is the bundle. This punch is the Lovely Labels. I got to make sure I get it right. The Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. Now, before we start, can I give you the bad news? Right now, this punch is on back order. Guys, COVID just really messed things up, I'm telling you. So a lot of the products we expected, or that Stampin' Up! Expected to have available for you when the catalog went live, well, they weren't manufactured because COVID shut down so many things. This will be back available. In fact, I think right now you can still order it. It's just going to tell you it's going to be back ordered and it will be shipped separately. All right. So, but this is how the bundle looks. And I think hopefully you guys saw my Tuesday tip on the punch because it is a fantastic punch. So we're going to be using it today, but I want to tell you something. If you don't have the punch, you are still going to be able to make the projects with just the stamp set. It's an incredible punch because it's 6 punches in one. We have 2 different punched ends. And then as you can see in these grooves, we have 6 different ways that we can punch, actually 3 and 3. So pretty cool, different sizes. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys know if you only have the stamp set, you're still going to be able to make the cards today. All right, we are ready to get started. So my first card, let me show you what the first card looks like. This one is just gorgeous. First of all, I love Daffodil. Daffodil Delight, so pretty. And this is my Scrap That Idea card because I truly made this with just some scraps I found in my scrap bag. Don't you love that? I think that is so fun. There's that fancy little label. And I'm going to teach you a little fun technique today. And this is called the marker to stamp technique. So we'll be creating this card. Let me show you what you need to create it. We're going to start with a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock. And this, by the way, let me tell you, all the measurements for both cards are going to be available over at simplysimplestamping.com. So don't worry about trying to jot them down or anything. You can run over to Simply Simple Stamping. Give me about 5 minutes after my live is over and I'll have that posted for you. My Daffodil Delight, though, is cut 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So that's a standard A2 card size. I've got some basic black. Let's see, my basic black is 3.5 by 4 1/4. Remember, I said it was just a scrap. My scrap pieces of Whisper White, I actually have 3 of them here, and they're all the same size. So all 3 of these are 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. So remember, this basic black was 3.5, so you can kind of see how those are going to layer on there. And now we need a couple other little pieces. I need just a scrap here. Oh, actually, you know what? I need this one first. This is my my sentiment. This piece is 1 inch by 4 1/4. And then this is just a little piece of scrap, and we're going to use that to get those 2 little flowers there. Oh, let me talk about this ribbon just briefly because it's beautiful. This ribbon is part of the Flowers for Every Season ribbon combo pack. One of the reasons I wanted to bring it in, do you guys remember last week I shared with you how to color your ribbon with Stampin' Blends, right? Well, this one, and let me put some white underneath it so you can see. I just wanted you to see, I colored this in with Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends Dark, and this one with Daffodil Stampin' Blends Light. So you can see the 2 different kind of variations in the color, but I'll show you here on the Daffodil cardstock, that one does come out, the dark does come out dark. So if you want it true to Daffodil, you're gonna wanna go with the light. But I love being able to color my ribbon, but on this card today, I wanted to keep it white because I wanted it to really pop right off that cardstock. But I just couldn't help but show you how pretty it is when you color it. Very simple, and it dries fast, so we love that. All right, I think it is time to get to stamping. So I said I was gonna teach you a technique today. And that is going to be a technique done with the Stamparatus. How many of you guys love your Stamparatus? It's just one of my favorite tools. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in one of those pieces. That was the 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. And I'm going to put it here in my Stamparatus, and I'm going to use my magnets today. And if you don't know this about the magnets, you don't want these to come near each other. They can snap and break. So they're super strong, guys, super, super strong. But I just want to do that so I can hold my cardstock in place. And I've got the stamp that I want to use, and I'm just going to lay it right there. Get it all set right where you want it. And then we're just going to bring the hinge from the Stamparatus, and we're going to bring that down, okay? Now, we're going to be using Stampin' Right markers today, not blends. We're going to be doing a stamp or a marker to stamp technique, but I do want to be very clear that you have to use Stampin' Right markers and not the blends. Blends won't work. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with my lightest color, and that is the Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to color right here on my stamp, up at the top. Now, you notice I'm kind of using the side of my marker. I don't want to use the tip because I don't want to mush down that tip. And I want you to also notice, I don't know if you can see, I hit this little center area. Well, guess what? It's going to be in black. So I'm really not too concerned right now if I hit that. It does not bother me. Okay, now we're going to come in with the Granny Apple Green. and we'll get the stem and the leaves. I love this technique, but guys, in my opinion, again, just my opinion, it is an absolute must that you use a Stamparatus when doing this technique. I'm going to show you why I think it's a must. Let me come in with the black Stampin' Write marker, and we'll get this right here. Now, I'm going to bring this around and I'm going to stamp, and now you're going to see why I think the Stamparatus is a must-have. That is not the look I'm going for. Nope, let me bring in my card. That's the look I'm going for. So what I want to do is I'm going to do this twice. But because I have that Stamparatus here, that means I don't have to worry about getting it dead on, you know, hitting that again. Stamparatus is going to make sure I get that perfect. So I'll do my yellow and I'll do my granny apple green. So I'm just going to do this twice. By the way, I do want to also mention, if you would rather, you can even do these one at a time, meaning I could start and do all the granny apple green, then I can come and, you know, do the basic black. You don't have to do all of it at once if you don't want to. And what I love too, I'm going to go ahead and press this down again. What I love too about this technique is if you have one spot that just didn't get the way you want, like let's say I wanted to hit that Daffodil Delight one more time, well, I can just come in and I can just do the daffodil one more time. So why don't we? There we go. Isn't that pretty? I love being able to get that kind of mixed look. All right, I'm going to just clean that really, really quick so that I don't get that ink anywhere. Let me move that. And now I'm going to, here's my little thing. I like to move my magnets way out of the way. I just don't want to run the risk of having those touch. So, guys, the Stamparatus work is done on this card. So let me bring in my other two pieces here and we'll do our stamping here as well. Now for these, we're actually going to bring in ink pads. So I've got my Granny Apple Green ink pad, probably my favorite green ever of all times. So we've got this fabulous leafy image, and let's stamp that. You notice I'm going up at the top. See, there's where my sentiment's going to go across. So I want to kind of stay up here at the top. And then next I'm going to bring in, I've got this little flower, and then I've got this leaf image. You know what? I think I'm going to stamp the flowers first, and that, of course, is going to go in daffodil. So let me go ahead and stamp. I will stamp a flower at the top. I'm going to come along next to it and stamp a leaf. And then I will stamp, you know what? I thought I had another flower, but that is all I had. So I'm going to set that off to the side. And that little scrap, yep, let's take that little scrap and we're going to stamp 2 flowers on there. All right. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but my card is a little bit different because I have some black centers to those flowers. So let me close this up. I get so nervous when an ink pad is open. Does anyone else? All right, I'm going to come in with my Memento Black. And let me show you what I'm going to do. My favorite stamp, if you guys have followed me for a while, you know one of my favorite stamps is my pencil eraser. This is a brand new pencil eraser, so it's got a really nice rounded rubber eraser, rubber, aka rubber stamp. And look what I can do. I now, look at how that flower just pops. And I can do that here on these as well. If you are stamping with your pencil eraser and it got a little light, not a problem. You can go right over it. It's very, very simple. It's easy to see, so you can go right over those. All right, that is all we need. Oh no, I do have one more. I've got to do my sentiment here. So let me bring in that, let's see, 1 inch by 4 1/4. And my sentiment today is, love is what makes us family. We'll stamp that right there. Hey, I should let you know, I might have a special guest on the live video today. Yeah, I've got a fly in my stamp room that will not leave me alone. Oh, I've tried all day to get this fly and I cannot get it. All right, so I am going to take my stamped sentiment. We're going to use this, the first kind of more rounded end of the lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. I've got to get that name right. Now, you're going to see it kind of slides right into this groove. So I'm going to slide that in as far as it'll go and give it a punch. Aw, so cute, right? And if you didn't catch the video where I talked about it, if you see my little note here, add 1 inch, that's how I determine how much I'm going to lose off of my punch, and it's about 1 inch. So whenever I'm measuring my sentiment, I always go 1 inch more, and then I know everything's going to fit. All right, so there is my sentiment. Let's go ahead and put the card together. So I'm going to bring in that basic black cardstock, and we're going to bring in these pieces. I'm going to be using the brand new Stampin' Seal. I'm kind of glad I get to use this because, can I be honest, I kind of had a love-hate relationship when it first came out. I was struggling with how to use it, but I learned the trick, and now you will know the trick too. You know, there shouldn't be a trick with, you know, adhesive, but I have been trying to use it this way. You've got to use it straight up and down. Well, once I learned that, look at this fabulous adhesive. It is great stuff. I should do a Tuesday tip on it because I've got a lot to share about the Stampin' Seal. One thing I like about it is one case is going to work with the Stampin' Seal and the Stampin' Seal Plus. Stampin' Seal Plus is like your super duper heavy duty, it's never coming off adhesive. It's great stuff. But either way, you only need one case and you can interchange these. The other thing I like about this one, oh gosh, it had, I think about, oh gosh, Brenda, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like 4 more yards on it over snail. Yeah, I like that. It's wonderful. So we're going to get our adhesive. Boy, I tell you though, it was a learning curve to remember to be straight up and down. All right, now when I adhere these to my card, I do not press them down because I may need to move them around and get them centered up where I want them. So I'm using a real light touch. Speaking of light touches, also use a light touch when you're using the Stampin' Seal. I tend to get a little heavy-handed, and I shouldn't. Just a light touch. All right, let's see if I can get that centered. It looks like this one here on the end is the one that is crooked. You know, that's the one fun thing about being on camera is that I'm at a little bit more of an angle than I would be if I were at my desk because this camera is in my way. There we go. All right, so I have that. Let me bring in my card and that ribbon. Oh, like I said, I was so impressed with how this ribbon colored. We're going to tie this in a square knot all the way over to the right-hand side. So I'm going to go right over left and under, and then I'm going to pull it straight up and down. Do you see? We want to kind of lock those two in place. And then we're going to go, let's see, it was left over right, right over left, and under. And when you pull, only pull what's in your left hand. Take it slow, and look what you get. You get a pretty little knot in the center. We like that, right? All right, let me grab my scissors, and I'm going to trim down the excess here. It's so pretty on that Daffodil Delight card. I'm going to slide that down so that it's kind of hanging there off the edge. All right, so now I have got my my focal image. I'm going to do this here in just a second. Now you can, if you'd like, you can add this with dimensionals. I did not on my original, but it does give a lot of nice depth if you want to. But you know what? For today, we're going to bring in the super strong Stampin' Seal Plus. You notice it's dark blue. This is light blue. And I will add. What's nice with this one, I know you probably cannot see it here, but it's perforated. And that's really nice because that means we don't have to fight it. If you guys were familiar with Fast Fuse, boy, that was a great product. But the dispenser was just not working the way we wanted. and it was frustrating. We didn't like it. But boy, this stuff, this is working great. It's awesome. All right, there's that. Let me bring in my sentiment, and I have added some dimensionals to the back here of my sentiment, and we're going to put that here on the front of the card. I just love bright and cheery cards, and I would love to send a card to family, especially right now. There we go. So these little guys right here, I have lost my scissors. There they are. I put my ink pads on top of them. We are just going to fussy cut. I know some of you are groaning and some of you are going, yay, fussy cutting, I love it. I know. I actually kind of enjoy fussy cutting once I learned like the trick. I think the trick is you move what's in your hand here, not the scissors. Don't try to move the scissors and cut. Move the paper. Anyway, I'm not going to sit there and cut all those because I don't want to bore you. So I am going to bring in 2 of those that are already fussy cut. And I think I'm just going to adhere them with a glue dot, but you can actually use your Stampin' Seal. You can use the Stampin' Seal Plus. You can use glue dots. You can use your multi-purpose glue, whichever one you usually work with, but oh, so cute. Look at that. Now, I can think of a lot of color combinations for this that I think would be beautiful. I think it would be gorgeous if we did maybe like Pear Pizzazz and Calypso Coral. I thought it'd be beautiful in Melon Mambo or that new Magenta Madness. Yeah, really just a fun and bright, happy card. And I want to encourage you to look through your stamps and just see what else might fit in those 1 1/4 inch panels. You've probably got stamps already that would be beautiful in it. So, all right, guys, that is the first card. Are you ready to move on to the next one? Here we go. All right, so my next card is a flashcard 2.0. And I gotta tell you, I love this card. I thought these little extra pieces and a fun way to use the leftovers was perfect. I think this card has a great retro look. We're going to say wildly grateful. There's that fabulous ribbon again. And again, the same stamp set. And we're going to use that same technique. But I'm going to show you how we're going to do it on a circle this time. So let's go ahead and start with that. So I'll bring in my Stamparatus again. And, oh, wait, I better tell you what supplies you need. Goodness, getting ahead of myself. All right, well, good news. You don't need a lot. We love that, right? We are going to take a piece of Whisper White thick cardstock. Again, like the other one, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And the Flashcard 2.0 pieces are Granny Apple Green and Whisper White. And you see that they layer on top of each other. The Granny Apple Green is 2 1/8 by 5.5. My Whisper White is 2 inches by 5 3/8. So you see it just leaves that nice little border. If you're not familiar with flashcards, I want to encourage you to do a quick search on my YouTube channel for flashcard system. You'll see a video that explains it. There are so many videos I have available using flashcards. This is the Flashcard 2.0. All right, now we also need a little ribbon knot from that ribbon from the Flowers for All Season ribbon combo pack. And then I've also got just a little single piece that is 3 inches long. And we're going to use that as just a little accent. So that is what we need. All right, so we are going to take this Whisper White and let's do a little punching. I'm going to come in with a 2-inch circle punch. Now, guys, this cardstock is 2 inches and this circle punch is 2 inches. It's a tight one, but it will fit. But it's a tight one. And I want you to see I'm trying to stay as far over to one side and then, of course, lining it up top to bottom as best I can. The reason I'm doing that is I need the rest of this cardstock. Now, if all of this is too much for you, just go cut a little 2-inch circle. You're fine. Oh, by the way, if you don't have the circle punch, you can also do this with your layering circle punches or dies as well. So there's my circle. Here's what's left over. All right, so let me go ahead and bring in my paper trimmer and I'll show you what we're going to do here. We're going to cut this down to whatever we can cut off, really. There's no right or wrong. It looks like this is going to be about 3 1/4. It's all in where your cut lands, okay? But don't worry, there's not a right or wrong to that. There's some scrap. All right, now we're going to take this and we are going to cut it to, I've got to remember my measurements, 3/4 of an inch. So let's cut 3/4 of an inch. We're going to do 2 of those. So let me get one more here. Oh goodness, Connie, cut it straight. There we go. So 2 of those that are 3/4 of an inch. Now this one, I'm actually going to cut down to 3 inches. And that is for my little sentiment here. Remember I said that whole add an inch? Yep. The sentiment itself is only about 2 inches. I only need 2 inches. But remember, we're going to cut some of that off. Or no, I take that back. It's 3/4 of an inch because we're going to use this one. In fact, since this is out, let's go ahead and punch it. So remember over here on my first card, this sentiment was a 1-inch piece. And now we're going to do a 3/4 of an inch. So you see that next groove down? It's going to slide right in there. And it is a little one, so I'm going to give you another little tip. I flip it over and just make sure I've got that straight right there. I just feel like a little more secure knowing I got it straight. Because when I first was doing this, especially when you're using little tiny pieces, it was just hard for me to know, you know, I don't want that to be crooked. I don't want that to not be touching the top of the punch. All right, so there are my 2 pieces. And see, now it looks perfect. That's exactly what we were going for. All right, and this piece, all right, this one we're going to do on the other side. So this one, you know what? We're going to stop. We're going to do work on this before we punch it. I'm going to show you why. So, and you know what? Did I not cut that down enough? No, I did not. We're going to have to cut that more. But you know what? Watch what we're going to do. We're just going to slide it back in. So obviously, Connie was wrong on 3 inches. It must have been 2 3/4. Yeah, we're not even going to use that. Well, don't worry. We're gonna fix that. You know what? We're gonna fix it right now because it will drive me. Did I not tell you? Turn it over and make sure it's straight. Do as I say, not as I do, because I did exactly what I told you not to do. That's a little bit better, but you know, always when you're on camera, right? Okay. Don't worry, I have one that's gonna look better than that. All right, so now we're going to, before I do this, I'm all over the place today, aren't I? I wanted to share another trick with you. So on my original, let me show you what I did. I'm going to get my Melon Mambo ink pad. I used another stamp set is what I did. And I used the jar of flowers and I used this little image right here. So let me show you what it looks like stamped, all right? Very simple. I just stamped Melon Mambo in the middle, cleaned my stamp, and then I did it up at the top and the bottom in the basic black, all right? Pretty straightforward, right? But I wanted to show you an option where you didn't have to bring in another stamp set. So let me show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring in some grid paper and watch this. I'm gonna bring a basic black marker and my Melon Mambo marker. This is so much fun. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that Melon Mambo marker and I'm just dragging it. You notice the side, dragging it on the side across the cardstock. So now I can drag the basic black. We're not going for perfection here. We're supposed to make it kind of look like maybe a brush or something. See that? Get that little edge there. Now that I think looks really cool. I like that. So I wanted you to see if you don't have this stamp. In fact, we're going to use this one on our design today. So we'll make the card a little bit different, but that's what it would look like. We've done it this way. So let's bring in the punch. And I'm going to use this rounded one. And this is why I wanted to color first, because that way if I didn't quite get an edge or something, I'm cutting it off anyway, and it doesn't matter. All right. Oh, see, I didn't flip it over. There we go. Whew. Almost messed it up again. All right. Because, you know, we never make mistakes in stamping, right? No. Okay. Now I promise we're going to get to that Stamparatus. Here we go. All right. So we'll bring the Stamparatus back in. And now, remember, we have this circle. I'm going to line it up there on my grid. I just like to use the grid. That way, if anything goes wrong, I can get it right back to where it was. Take my magnets. Again, just barely touching. Again, because I don't want those to touch each other. All right, let me take my stamp. And, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to do one more quick thing before I do that. Let me take my Melon Mambo. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment real quick. That way I have a good visual of where I'm going to put that flower. We're going to say wildly grateful. And we'll stamp that right there. And now we can bring in that stamp. Now I think you understand why I said, oh, I think I'll stamp my sentiment first, because I wanted to see right where that was going to go. All right, so we'll get my magnet on there. Remember, we flipped the Stamparatus over to pick up the stamp. Gotta love those cling stamps. Now, you guys have already seen me do this, but we're gonna do it again. We're gonna start with the Melon Mambo, and you can see we have 2 flowers on this one. If the Melon Mambo hits the little kind of leaf right underneath it, I'm not at all worried about it, but I'll start with Melon Mambo. Then I will do the Granny Apple Green. Look, I hit the leaves there at the top again. But again, it's going to be black, so I'm just not worried about it. Now, if you are just tuning in, again, I want to just remind you, these are the Stampin' Right markers and not the blends, because this technique will not work with the Stampin' Blends because it's a different type of marker. All right, get that one. This one. Have you guys ever done this marker to stamp technique? I think it's great, but like I said, that is just not acceptable to me. I just feel like I need more. And you know, I'm going to give you another little tip. I just really don't want to accidentally get black in my Melon Mambo, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that real quick. Do you love my little mini chamois? I took one of my chamois and I cut it into thirds. So I cut it in half, and then I cut one of my halves in half. This one I love to keep nearby in my Stamparatus because it's the perfect little size. But like I said, I just didn't want to run the risk of picking up that Melon Mambo, or the black getting picked up in my Melon Mambo. All right, so this we can do really quick. And remember what I said too, is you can always, if one of them still didn't come out right, or maybe you didn't quite get your ink on there, with the Stamparatus, not a problem. We can go back and we can do it again. Because yeah, the black on there is just looking a little gray to me, and I want it a little bit bolder. I don't know, Melon Mambo and Basic Black are some of my favorite colors. Years ago, everything on my website and everything in my stamp room were those colors. Oh, I loved my black and pink. Ooh, very nice. Now, I am going to say I want that Melon Mambo just a little bit darker. See, that's why I said the Stamparatus is perfect for this, because all I have to hit is just that. And I can, oh, there we go. Isn't that looking great? All right, so let me take my magnets. We're going to slide them out of the way. My stamped image is perfect. There we go. Now we are going to do the cutting. Let me find my cardstock here. We're going to do the cutting that we need to do on our flashcard 2.0. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer once again. And guys, we are going to cut 2 pieces that are let me make sure I'm getting this right. 2 pieces that are 3/4 by 2 1/8. Gosh, my brain. I needed more coffee today. Anyone else? 2 pieces, 3 1/4. I just didn't want to tell you the wrong measurement. 2 pieces, 3 1/4. That's going to leave me 4 inches of Granny Apple Green cardstock right there. So on these 2 pieces, I will bring in that Granny Apple Green ink pad, and we're going to take that leaf stamp. See where it went? There we go. And we will stamp those right on there. These are going to make just a great accent. I love how that looks. All right, it looks like everything is stamped and ready to go so we can put our card together. I'm going to grab my ribbons and my card base here, and we will put this together. So we are going to start with, make sure, oh yeah, we're going to start with these pieces and my Granny Apple Green. So I want to put this piece right here, but oh, can you see how it's just barely going to touch? I mean, barely. So we're going to put some of our adhesive here, and it should be just enough for me to just tack that on there. I'm not worried about it. I just need it to tack for just a second. Now we'll do the same thing down here. So there's some adhesive. Make sure I've got the image going the right direction. And you notice I'm leaving, what is that, maybe 1/4 of an inch at the most showing. There we go. Woo! Boy, I'm telling you, I just used the Stampin' Seal. That is some sticky stuff. Nice job Stampin' Up. I like it. Okay. We're going to go ahead and adhere this to the front of our card. That's why I said I was really only worried about that tacking for just a second. In fact, look, I'm even going to double seal it, make sure it stays there. So I can get adhesive here, and every once in a while I do find I have to roll it because Connie didn't hold her hand right. I told you, you got to hold that just the right way. It's going to be my little learning curve, but that's all right. Okay, now remember that piece that I used the marker on? I cut off about 1 inch of it, okay? So there's my remaining piece. And we are going to add some adhesive to the bottom of this so that we can add this piece of ribbon. Now it's real easy because my ribbon is 3 inches, and there's a reason I had to split it, but you can't see it because it's hidden underneath there. All right, so let's take our adhesive, and I'm going to run that down one end. And here's what I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to grab a silicone craft mat too because I don't want that sticky to get on my table. The edge of the punch is going to line up with the edge of the ribbon. All right, now let's do the same thing here. So my adhesive's going to go right there on this end. And like I said, it's just going to line up on the edge of the punch. That's easy enough, right? Now we can add this to the front of the card. So I'll add my Stampin' Seal here. And we can add this. Oh, it is so sticky, you guys. I love it. I'm so happy. We do love that. Okay, add this right here to our card. Don't you love little hacks like that? Yeah, we don't need that whole piece. All right, there is my focal image, and I'm going to put, I've got Stampin' Dimensionals here on the back. We can remove those, and we're going to cover up that hole because we don't want to see that. We'll add, it's so retro, isn't it? I love it. Let's see now. Oh, I need to stamp my sentiment. Well, you know what? Because I totally hosed up the other one. Good thing I have one already done. I stamped the word always, and then this little kind of florally, not a floral image, just a little accent image. And I did that with the Melon Mambo, and I just did that with an ink pad. But if you only had the markers, you could do it with the markers too. But I personally am a huge fan of just bringing in a stamp pad when I need to. Let's add our Wildly Grateful Always. And now for our little ribbon, press it onto a glue dot. Again, this just gives this nice burst, and it kind of ties into this little bit of ribbon right down here. So I want you to see two versions. This one, remember I did with the jar of flowers. What a great little accent piece. It worked perfect. And I do love how it looked, but I think this really jumps out and really pops. I love that. And again, I was using the markers anyway. So I already had them out. It really was not any extra effort to just change it and add it that way. You know, and in retrospect, we could have taken this 4 by 2 1/8 inch Granny Apple Green. Maybe we could have embossed it. It's kind of all about how much you want to do. I love clean and simple cards. They're some of my favorites. And I really did like how clean and simple this one came out. So I decided I was just going to leave it that way. All right, let me bring in my other card. I'll go ahead and leave both those there since they are a little different. And there's my first card. Remember, this was all done with the Lovely You bundle. We love the bundles. Again, at the time of this taping, this punch may be on back order for you, but go ahead and order. Stampin' Up! Will send it when it's available. But I do love the bundle because I love to save 10%. I mean, who doesn't love to save money, right? Okay, if you'll give me just 1 second, I am going to flip my camera back over and we'll talk a little bit about the project for next week. All right, here we go. Again, if you get motion sick, look away as we move over. There we go. All right. I hope that you guys enjoyed the cards today. Those were so much fun. I love those colors. They scream summer. I thought they turned out really pretty. All right, let me take a quick sip here. All right. Next week is the 25th of June. And I want to tell you that next week is not going to be a YouTube Live. It will be a YouTube premiere. And it will be at 7 p.m. Central Time. The premieres I do once a month, and the premieres are typically bigger projects. I have a really great project lined up for you. Some of you may have seen it if you tuned in last week. This is a little gift box that I created with the Nothing's Better Than bundle. One of my favorite bundles because I was the designer and it makes me happy. We're going to create this little gift box, and this is going to hold 4 note cards and envelopes. The cards are stinking adorable. I'm telling you, so cute. This is such a fabulous stamp set. It's on page 91 if you haven't taken a look at it. But it just, well, it screams retro, it screams fun, and my favorite things. Chocolate, cookies, coffee, a cocktail down in. Yep, this is my kind of project. But we're going to have 4 cards that will go along with that. So I hope that you guys will tune in and come to see that. Now, the week after that is going to be July 2nd, and then we'll be back with a YouTube Live. And again, that'll be at noon Central Time. And I'm really excited. So you guys are the first ones to see this. We're going to do a Now, Wow, or Holy Cow. I love to do Now, Wow, or Holy Cow cards. We're going to be using the Field of Flowers stamp set. And let me tell you, this thing is gorgeous. Are you ready? We have a Now card. We got a little embossing in the background. I love this stamp set. And it's so easy to work with. If you're a beginner stamper, I'm telling you, this stamp set is for you. So there's my Now card. This one can be made in a hurry. And it's also a flash card, but this can be made super duper fast, right? But maybe you want to step it up a notch. Okay, well, why don't we add a little designer series paper and some tulle? So there is my Wow card. Are you ready for Holy Cow? It's pretty Holy Cow. Look at that. Yeah, I use the Ornate Layers die. Oh, look at the detail in that die. And then we added some rhinestones and ribbon. Gorgeous card. I'm so excited to share those with you. So I hope that you guys will make plans to join me. The Now Wow or Holy Cow will be on the July 2nd at noon. And then the Nothing's Better Than gift box and note cards, that will be on June 25th at 7 p.m. Central Time. All right, hey, real quick, I just want to encourage everybody to head over to simplysimplestamping.com because I want to share with you, if you haven't heard, there is a fantastic retreat that is coming up very soon. This is called the Creative 8 Summer Online Stamp Retreat. I know many of you tuned in and you were a part of the spring retreat that we had in April. And I'm telling you what, it went over so well that the Creative 8 team, we said, I think think we need to do it again for the summer. So that is, registration is now open for that. And if you head over to simplysimplestamping.com, you will see that should be like the second or third post on there. You can't miss it. It says Creative 8 Summer Retreat. So much fun. This is 5 of Stampin' Up's top demonstrators. You probably know a lot of them. Brandy Cox, Lisa Curcio, Jackie Bolhai, Sharon Armstrong, and myself. We are going to be sharing and stamping with you all day on July 11th. That's a Saturday, July 11th. We're going to start in the morning, and every hour on the hour, we're going to be with you for a new live video. These are going to be amazing, over the top, fabulous cards and projects. And what you're going to love most about this is it doesn't matter what stamp set we use, because they're all going to be designed for you to use the products and supplies that you already have on hand. So if we use a designer series paper, it is set up and ready for you to use your designer series paper. If we use a certain floral stamp set and you don't have it, don't worry, you can use the floral stamp sets that you already have. Yeah, it's a fun day. Probably a special guest or two. Gertie might show up, we'll have to see. And so I'd love to have you join me. Yeah, so head over to simplysimplestamping.com for that. All right, guys, I think that is all for me. Thank you so much for joining me. I love sharing with you on YouTube Live and letting you see all my mistakes and bad punching. It happens. Thank you guys again so much for being here. Cheers. Have a fabulous day. See you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.